Joseph's journey from the pit to the palace, an inspiring Bible story. Have you ever felt betrayed by the people you love the most? Have you ever wondered why God allows heartbreak, injustice, and suffering to enter the lives of those who faithfully follow Him? What if the greatest pain of your life was actually preparing you for God's greatest purpose? Imagine being 17 years old, full of hope, full of dreams, believing God had something extraordinary planned for your life. Now imagine those very dreams becoming the reason your own brothers hated you. Imagine standing alone in an open field, surrounded by the people you trusted most. Then suddenly, strong hands grab you. Wrong. Their faces filled with anger, their voices filled with hatred. You cry for mercy, but no one listens. They throw you into a deep, empty pit, cold, dark, alone. As Joseph looked up from the bottom of that pit, he could still hear his brothers talking, laughing, eating, planning what to do with him. The people who should have protected him were deciding how to get rid of him. Then came something even more heartbreaking. Instead of killing him, they sold him as a slave for 20 pieces of silver. To them, Joseph was worth less than a brother, less than a son, less than a dream. As the caravan disappeared into the desert, Joseph watched his home fade into the distance. He had no idea if he would ever see his father again. The colorful robe his father had lovingly given him was gone. His freedom was gone. His family was gone. Everything he knew had been taken away. Everything, except his faith. But even in Egypt, God was with Joseph. Joseph was sold into the house of Potiphar, an important officer of Pharaoh. Although he was a slave, Joseph worked with honesty, excellence, and integrity. God blessed everything Joseph touched. Soon, Potiphar trusted him with his entire household. It seemed that life was finally changing. But another trial was waiting. Potiphar's wife repeatedly tried to tempt Joseph. Joseph refused. He chose obedience to God over temporary pleasure. Humiliated by his refusal, she lied and accused Joseph of attacking her. Without a fair trial, without anyone to defend him, Joseph was thrown into prison. Can you imagine how he must have felt? First, betrayed, then enslaved, now imprisoned for a crime he never committed. Most people would have become bitter. Most people would have given up on God. Joseph didn't. Even inside the prison walls, Joseph remained faithful. He served others. He encouraged those around him. He continued trusting God when there was no visible reason to hope. Years passed. Then one night, Pharaoh had two troubling dreams. None of Egypt's wise men could explain them. Suddenly, someone remembered Joseph. The forgotten prisoner was brought before the most powerful ruler in Egypt. Standing before Pharaoh, Joseph humbly declared, "It is not in me. God will give Pharaoh the answer." God revealed that 7 years of great harvest would be followed by 7 years of severe famine. Joseph wisely advised Pharaoh to store grain during the years of abundance. Pharaoh recognized God's wisdom in Joseph. In one incredible moment, everything changed. The prisoner became a prince. The slave became a ruler. The forgotten dreamer became second only to Pharaoh himself. Years later, the famine spread across the land. Food became scarce. People traveled from many countries to Egypt to buy grain. Among them were Joseph's own brothers. The very men who had thrown him into the pit now stood before him, not recognizing the brother they had betrayed. Joseph recognized them immediately. He could have taken revenge. He could have punished them. Instead, Joseph chose mercy. After testing their hearts and seeing that they had changed, Joseph could no longer hold back his tears. He revealed his identity. His brothers were terrified, but Joseph embraced them with love. Then he spoke one of the most powerful verses in the entire Bible. "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Genesis 50:20. The pit, the slavery, the prison, none of it was wasted. God had been working all along. Every painful chapter had become part of a greater story. Maybe you feel like Joseph today. Perhaps you've been betrayed by someone you trusted. Maybe you've prayed for years and still don't understand why your life has taken such a painful path. You may feel forgotten, rejected, or trapped in circumstances you never chose. But remember Joseph. God never abandoned him in the pit. God never left him in slavery. God never forgot him in prison. And God has not forgotten you. Sometimes God's greatest blessings arrive after our greatest battles. Sometimes the pit becomes the doorway to the palace. Sometimes the waiting season is where God prepares us for the purpose we cannot yet see. If people have hurt you, choose forgiveness. If life seems unfair, keep trusting. If your dreams seem delayed, do not lose hope. God is still writing your story. The same God who turned Joseph's pain into purpose, his rejection into restoration, and his suffering into salvation for many, can also transform your life. Your pit is not your destination. Your prison is not your future. With God, every setback can become a setup for His greater plan. Stay faithful. Trust His timing. Because God's plans are always greater than our pain. Bible Beacon shining, God's Word to the world.